Hello again, guys, and welcome back to race 2 of round 2 of the Midnight Oils GT7 Championship Season 3. So, obviously, being a reverse grid, Danny Jones couldn't make this second race, so that puts Vexed on pole. We got Clutch starting in second place, Asbel starting third, Chuck starts in fourth, we have Jerry in fifth, Pickle starts in sixth, Dan Bailey in seventh, Ice Chand in eighth, Wayne G starts in ninth, and Mawson will start in 10th place. So and Thomas starts in 11th. So without further ado, let's get into this second and final race of the evening. That wasn't the button I wanted. We've also got no information on screen. There we go. The klaxon sound there off, so Vexed getting a good getaway off the start. The Citroen is very good off the line. Can he work this in his favour? We'll have to wait and see. So obviously, knowing that I pit a lap too early in the first race, will I make the same mistake here? Also trying to be conscious to save as much fuel as I can. Asbo also getting a really good getaway there. He's taken Clutch off the line. He's up into second place. Clutch trying to come back now though. Clutch up into second before the tunnel. Asbo has to duck back in under the wing of the Audi. And Clutch has been looking racy all evening. Can he turn this one into a good result? Nice bit of a gap now, though, over Asbo, who is being pressured by Chuck in the Peugeot RCZ. Then we have Jerry Smiles, Dan Bailey, Pickle and Wayne G. I think you can also see, who else was that? That was Ice Chand, Mawson and Thomas. Like Chuck does finally manage to get past Asbo. I think Asbo had a little meeting with the wall where Jerry Smiles has managed to get through as well. What has happened there? Somebody in the background. Who was that? Dan Bailey. What happened to Dan Bailey? We've got to go back and have a look here. So, if we find... So we can see the battle unfolding ahead. So there's Jerry Smiles, Asbo, and Chuck. Chuck taking the defensive line. Jerry Smiles goes up the inside there of Asbo. Asbo gets shuffled out a little bit wide, hits the barrier. I think there was a tiny bit of side-to-side contact there between Pickle and Dan Bailey, maybe. Dan Bailey into the barrier, though, and then spins the car. That is unlucky, Dan. Can he get that car going in time? So Chuck now up to third place. Jerry Smiles is up to fourth. And then in the background we have a battle going on. I think that was Wayne G getting the move done on Asbo. Ice Chand waiting in the wings there as well. Ice Chand wants to get the place, wants to get a position. Up through the inside into the tunnel. Asbo dropping down to 7th place now. What tyres is he on? Gone for hards again. So maybe a little bit sketchy when they're cold. Maybe struggling to get them tyres up to temperature. Ice Chand, however, up to 6th place now. He's got a little bit of a gap ahead to Wayne G. Can he close that distance? So Mawson being hounded by the Ferrari of Thomas. Mawson had an absolutely cracking first race. What can he do here in this second race? Very hard track to overtake on. Thomas looking for the overtake on the inside though into turn 1. Yeah, it's turn 1. This is 2. There is a slight kink though, isn't there, on the approach to turn 1. I think that one there is a turn as well. Well, it looks like these two cars are starting to close the distance to Asbo. So now we have Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey trying to make his way back into the race. He's put in a purple sector there. So I think Pickle must have maybe backed off and gave him the position back. Down in 11th place now. So Vext still in control of the race at the moment. How much of a gap has he built? So not too much of a gap. You can still see Clutch not too far behind him. We'll go on board with Clutch for just a second. So there's only a couple of seconds gap at the moment up ahead to first place Vext. Managing to keep a nice bit of a gap though back to Chuck, and Jerry Smiles looking around the outside there of Chuck. He's managed to get the move done. What a move there from Jerry. I don't think Chuck saw that one coming. Has he got an answer though? Both of them grazing the barrier there on the exit of the right-hander. In fact, not too many left-hand turns in this circuit. Chuck looking racy indeed. He wants to become part of that battle for the podium. Just making a few slight little errors here and there. Jerry Smiles now trying to look for the move against Clutch. Can he get past the Audi? Almost pushing him along now. Would he look for the move on the inside? No thinks better of it. He's going to be losing a few tenths, or a tenth at least. But massive overspeed up the hill there. Nowhere to go though. Only found the rear bumper off Clutch. But Chuck's still unable to find a way past the Porsche, try as he might. He is looking pretty quick though. Does finally have a fleeting move to the inside. Will he get the will he get the move done? He does. So that was a great move there from Chuck. Up the inside into turn one. Needs to try and create a bit of a gap now to Jerry. The gap to Clutch ahead has opened up somewhat, so we'll come back to that battle in just a second. So Wayne G trying to close the distance there as well. He's got Ice Chand in the tow. We've got Thomas now in 7th place. Thomas currently the fastest lap, 1:13.830 on the hards. Mawson currently sat in 8th place. How far back from Thomas is he? So he's lost a second or two to Thomas ahead on the racing hards in the first stint this time round. We have Asbo now in 9th. Dan Bailey and Pickle having a battle at the back, 10th and 11th. Will they try and work together now to try and catch the rest of the field? And this is where the Porsche seems to excel through this sector. Really hanging off the bumper now of the Mercedes ahead. maybe Pickle's tyres have just died a bit of a death now. So Vex still out at the front. Managed to create a nice bit of a gap now. Has he used too much fuel though? And will he pit in the right window? So Chuck now the head of a, I think it's a 7-car train, sorry, a 5-car train. So we've got Chuck, Wayne G, Jerry, Chand and Thomas. Chuck somehow managed to pull a second or two though. So it's now Wayne G at the head of the train. And who's into the pits? Chuck now into the pits. Is that going to set off a chain reaction of other cars? Oh, Jerry Smiles. Taken to the barrier. But look at his tyres. His tyres are holding on for dear life. That front left has almost left the chat. And Mawson creeps into the battle. Mawson is going to get the move done up the inside there. Can he close the distance now to Thomas? How has Thomas done a 113 on hards? Thomas looking for the move up the inside now on Chand. Will he get the better exit? He's going to have the inside into the tunnel. I think he's passed already, and he is. Gets the move done. Up into 4th place for Thomas. I think Chan just grazed on the barrier. That's allowed Mawson to come alongside. Will he get the move done? Chan's going to be on the inside for the next turn. Side by side through that turn. Oh no! I think Mawson just getting a little bit sandwiched there by Chan. Nothing really Chan could do. Chan gives him the advantage back. So Mawson back up into 5th. Chan's there in 6th. Jerry Smiles into the pits. Asbo moves up into 7th. Jerry Smiles down to 8th. So Mawson looking to create a bit of a gap back to Chand. Chand's tyres do look very heavily worn though in comparison to the Supra. Thomas trying to close the distance again to the Viper of too fast. And he has. He already has. So Wenny G on the worn mediums. The hards definitely look like they're coming into their own now. Looks like it's only going to be a matter of time before Thomas manages to go for a move. But actually diving into the pits, so going for an undercut. Wayne G is released, tries to close the distance now to clutch ahead. You can just see him just up the road. And look at Clutch go. Clutch doing an absolutely sterling job of holding that 2nd place, and he's got a lovely gap over 3rd place Wayne G. Surely we'll be heading to the pits at the end of this lap. So Vex should go a lap longer. But he's actually into the pits again. I think we may have seen a mistake there from Vexed. Wayne G will move through now. Wayne G's definitely been saving some fuel behind. And Mawson moves up into second place. The top two still yet to pit. And it looks like Vexed has severely underfueled there, taking on around 80 something percent. Last time he's only taken on 60. Is that going to see him to the end of the race? Obviously the top two are still yet to do their pit stops. They could quite happily go for another couple of laps. Whether Wayne G's tyres have let him go for another 2 laps, I'm not sure. His fuel definitely will. Mawson's, however, on the hards. Can Mawson pull off the overcut? Went for the undercut in the first race. And it paid off for him. And he dives into the pits now. So Wayne G has stayed out for another lap. Getting the most out of their mediums. And actually doing a cracking job of fuel saving in that very, very thirsty Dodge Viper. And where is Vex now? So Vexed moves through back up into second place. You can see starting to try and save as much fuel as he can, conscious that it might not make it to the end of the race, or it might not get him to the end of the race. So how quickly is the gap going to come down back to clutch? Clutch doing a grand job. Third place at the moment, but he should move up to second. Thomas, however, putting in purple sectors. So Wayne G is finally into the pits. That is going to release Vex, surely up into the lead of the race once again. And there he goes. Where does Wayne G come out? Does he come out behind, or will he lose the position to clutch? And I think he's come out just ahead. Is he going to get the Viper up to speed though? Will clutch be able to close the distance before turn 1? Oh, and he's got to be mindful now of Thomas behind. Thomas is going to be getting closer, edging ever closer. What can Clutch do in the RA? Come on, Clutch. I think last season was actually his first ever Racing League season, and he finally loses the position to Thomas. But I think it was only a matter of time before Thomas managed to get past. Look how quick he is in that Ferrari. How much he's gapped. It must be a second already, the gap back to clutch. Insane pace on the hards, and now showing the same insane pace on the mediums. Surely won't be long before he catches Wayne G. You can see him just ahead. Wayne G trying to close the gap now to Vexed. Yeah, Vexed fuel and tyre situation doesn't look great at this stage. Absolutely dominating at the moment, but for how long? Making a few slight errors through there. That's going to cost him a few temps to the car behind, or to the cars behind. What is he going to be able to do? And you can just see Wenny G start to creep into shot. I think Vex may have lost a second or two on that lap alone. And that gap is really coming down quite rapidly now. Wayne G still somehow keeping Thomas at bay. Thomas with the fastest lap once again, a 1:12.982. And he's definitely got enough fuel to get him to the end of the race. I think he can just push, like, he doesn't have to fuel save now. So we've now got Clutch in fourth. We have Molson currently fifth. Still ahead of Ice Chan there in sixth place. Ice Chan's tyres are dying a bit of a death. Chuck now seventh. We've got Jerry in eighth. Dan Bailey currently down in ninth. Asbo's in 10th. We have Pickle in 11th. So Dan Bailey has made up a position. He's managed to get past Asbo. Surely taking the mediums to the end of the race now. So I think it started to become quite clear that Vex isn't going to have enough fuel. Well, I actually thought I could just try and fuel save and make it to the end. But it wasn't to be. Wenny G really starting to catch now. Possibly aided by the Ferrari of Thomas pushing him along. Ice Chan into the pits. So it looks like, is Ice Chan on a two-stop? So with the rate that Wayne and Thomas have caught Vex, there should only be a matter of time before they manage to get the move done. Vex only has 2 laps to hold on. But he's already got the fuel indicator warning. Will he go for a splash and a dash? Or is it already too late? As Wayne G does manage to come alongside. Vex did get squeezed a little bit there. Down to third now as Thomas follows through as well, up into second place. So the battle is on now between Thomas and Wayne G. I think we can write Vex off. And for some unknown reason, Vex stays out. I think he thought this was the final lap. But it isn't the final lap. Wayne G really getting pressure by Thomas. Oh, hits the barrier there. Thomas does get the move done. Up into first place, trying to do the double here, Thomas. And look at the gap he's created already. Looks like Wayne G may be suffering with the tyre wear. Vex tyres not looking much better. When G graces the barrier once again, Vex is going to get the move done, is he? And he does. But how long is that fuel going to get him? Is it going to get him to the end? I don't think it is. We'll have to go on board with Thomas in just a second. But Vex managing to crawl back into second place. Wayne G some distance behind. Can Vex do it? Through the final couple of turns. Into the barrier. And no, that's it. I think that's his fuel gone. And this is not the final lap either. This is only lap 19. This is the final lap. Thomas. So Wayne G moves through with ease, as does Mawson, as does Clutch. Vexed, hemorrhaging positions now, should have gone into the pits. The race is over for Vexed. He's going to finish plumb last. Chuck moves through, as does Jerry. Up to 5th for Chuck. Jerry up to 6th. Oh, and there's a move by Jerry up the inside. And actually quite a bit of a gap back to Chuck now. But Thomas at the end there pulled out an absolutely stonking lead. Look at the gap. You can see the gap on the track map in the top right. So yeah, mistakes were made by Vexed, which cost him the win. I think he could have quite easily taken the win there. But Thomas will take the checkered flag and make it 2 out of 2. GG Thomas. Mawson will find himself on the second step of that podium once again. GG Mawson. Good round for Mawson. Wayne G, is he going to hold that third place? Is Clutch going to be able to get it? It's going to be a photo finish. Wayne G does take third. Clutch takes 4th in the end. Jerry Smiles will take 5th. Chuck comes home in 6th. Ice Chan was 7th. We had Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey will cross the line in 8th place. Asbo finishes in 9th. And then, yeah, Vexed is going to have a painful trundle to the start finish. Mistakes were made. He's going to hang his head in shame. Absolutely bowled it, son. And Pickle finished in 11th because he didn't get time to start his final lap. So maybe for next season we should turn it into a lap race as opposed to a timed race. Then everyone gets to finish. But that was it. Thomas finished in 1st with Mawson in 2nd place. Wayne G finished in 3rd in the end. Clutch was 4th. We had Jerry Smiles finishing in 5th. Chuck was 6th. We had Ice Chand in 7th. Dan Bailey was 8th. Asbo was 9th. Vexed. Well, finally, come on, finally crosses the line in 10th. Well, there we go. That was the second round of season 3 of the Midnight Oil Racing League's GT7 Championship, and I hope that won't give you a good little laugh like it did me. So I'll see you in the next round. I've been your boy Vexed. This has been the Midnight Oil Racing League's GT7 Championship. Good night.